Good morning. Today is the 11th of the 11th 2024 and I'm going to go through my trading plan for today. Also it's Armistice Day here in the UK. I think it's the same as Veterans Day in the US, so I'm not sure whether the market will be a bit quieter today. But let's, before we start, grab the news to see what could move the market today. Nothing for Monday, so no news at all, which is unusual. Okay, so let's just crack on with the levels. On my screen we are currently looking at the ES, which is the S&P 500 E-mini futures, and we're looking at the hourly time frame. And as you can see from this chart, all we've been doing is going up, up and up. So big push up over the last few days. But notice the reduce in volume a little bit. It's hard to find a short on such a strong stock though, such a strong trend. Pretty much levels from last week. We can watch this area here for a bounce, and that's around 6,020 to 6,014. Just zoom in a bit further. We've got a higher risk bounce, kind of a trend entry really. The highs of Friday, which is currently where we are right now, so we can watch this area for a bounce, and that's around 60.42, 60.40, or we can look for a break and retest. We've got no levels above because it's all-time highs, so there's no levels to play on. So the only real levels is this area here. I like that area also for a bounce because not only if it's an area of confluence where we've got tops pivots, bottoms of pivots here, it's also the 50 moving average is coming into that area as well, so we could see a nice, we haven't bounced, got close to the 50 moving average on the hourly for some time now. Last time was a week ago, so we're due a pullback. When that's happened I don't know, but we can watch for the break and retest short as well, pre-market low, so that's another higher risk because it's against the trend play. Just reset that. That's better. Oh, that's better. Yeah, so yeah, we're probably lower volume today. Might be a day where just to sit on hands, and that's really the only levels. Looking at SPY, I'll come back to the order flow. In fact, let's flick over to the ES order flow now while it's here. Order flow, it's looking just normal really. And there's this nice area here where you can see these aligned point of controls. Can't really, don't really like looking at the current candle. So this is potentially a bounce area right now, 60, 40, 41, 60, 42. This region, only because they're aligned, currently acting as support, but you know the price is below there right now. So if we're looking for that high risk bounce right now, we can potentially, if we break over 60.45, this region here, we could use this as our stop loss rather than the bottoms of those candles, give us a slightly tighter stop loss. And we've got some large orders sitting just above as well, and potentially waiting for the break out. And I think that's it. Cumulative delta, there's no divergence. You can see prices rising, prices rising, cumulative delta rising, prices declining, cumulative delta declining, and it's pretty much looking the same. And then on the 30-minute filtered, is there any areas? Not really. Maybe this area here is an area we can watch for a bounce, and it happens to be the exact same area we're already watching, we just talked about, with these aligned point of controls on the 10 range chart. Look at that point of control down there. So potentially they're at the bottoms of candles as well, so that does show a potential reversal when you got the point of controls at the bottom third, or right near the bottoms of these candles. So keep an eye on that if you're looking for high risk bounce. So let's move over to SPY. Go back to my main screen this time. Let's see if there's any levels on SPY. No, other than the same level we're watching, today is a what did I just click? Let's go back to SPY again. So we've got this bounce, this area confluence. We can watch 599 or 600. Look at that psychological number as well. So 600 for bounce and then a trend entry. If we lose 600, maybe we can look for a break and retest short with pre-market low. But that's it really. Otherwise, we've potentially got this area here as well. Rest of our Friday's low, 596.50 for bounce. Tops of those candles, lows of Friday, and that's all I can see. We really need the market to pull back a bit, create some new levels. Comments are there's a good morning back to you as well, Charles. Hopefully you had a nice weekend. So I'm checking the comments more regularly now because sometimes I don't have audio and I don't see it for 20 minutes later. SPX, still no real levels. Again, SPX is in all-time highs. I do quite like the bounce we get down at 58.70, and I'll only take the bounce probably on the ES only. No, I was just thinking 58.98, 59.80 as well is potentially that area. Again, I only watch SPX if I'm looking to go long or short, and if I'm going to go short on ES, then I don't want to be shorting if we go above resistance on SPX because it would be acting as a support area. So if I'm trying to find a short, I really want to see SPX coming into a level, coming up. Let's clear that. Coming up into say this level here, and then rejecting it also at the same time as ES. So looking at NQ next. So I'm going to keep it really brief. I've got a bit of I'm a bit under the weather today. I've got a sore throat. So another reason why I may not even trade. Lack of volume today potentially, and also feeling a bit unwell. We can watch this level here, 21,270. It's an area of confidence, tops of those pivots. Let's mark it in. So the highs of Thursday and that double top there, and then we put in another top on Friday there before we broke through and came back and retested. It was the ceiling, now it's the floor. Nice area of confidence. I'll watch that area for a bounce, and that's the pre-market low area. If we lose that area, we could potentially look for a break and test short, but we have got the 50 moving average coming up into that area, so it'd be hard to go short unless we can get below this area. But obviously notice the lack of volume on the left hand side through this void, so potentially if we are going short we could watch for this area here, because the next bounce area is not realistically until we get back into this volume, which will be around about this region here. Because my pen's not drawing. Yeah, 2800 for the bounce is probably the area to watch, down to 2700. That's more long term probably this week. Otherwise we can look for a trend entry over pre-market high, break and retest. That's into new all-time highs now. NQ took a long time to catch up with the others for all-time highs. You can see we just about broken the previous all-time high from July. Took a long time. ES did it days and days ago, but Nasdaq took a lot longer. Notice the decline in volume as the price is pushing up as well. Just be a bit wary that we're looking a little bit tired. Pretty extended as well from the 8, the 20 and the 50 moving average. So just bear that in mind. What's ES look like on the daily as well? Probably similar. Okay, well, it's been holding the volume. It's still below average volume. We had a couple big volume days, these white candles. So the first one on that red candle, and then the next high volume day on that big green candle. Nothing unusual, big candle, big volume, kind of expected. But we are again extended from the 8, the 20 and the 50. And if you look on the chart, you can see we pretty much hug the 8 moving average all the way up. So we don't really get this extended look for time on the chart this year where we were this far away from the 8. I can't see it, looking for a big gap. maybe there, but not quite as far, nowhere near as far. Potentially here, but again, not as big gap as this gap up here. So that's the gap we're looking at there. So there's definitely no gap that big. So we are due a bit of a pullback. So just be a bit wary, especially on a low volume day like today. QQQ, back to the hourly now. Again, watch for the bounce, pre-market low. If we lose that area, we can watch for a break and retest, and we can watch for the next bounce at 512, and then the pre-market low is around 514, 515 area for the bounce. And then if we do lose this entire area, again, notice the lack of volume to the left here, and then we've got the bounce area in this region here. So watch 501, 500 psychological number for the bounce. Oil, it's pretty much playing these zones. I think I said on Friday, I've said it quite a lot of times, literally draw your levels up on these charts, because you can just play off of these zones. Look, you can clearly see the zones there on that point of control. The bottoms of candles here, notice how it dropped, came down, sold off into that zone, bounced off that zone, back into that zone again, broke down, a little bit of a bounce of that zone, so it kind of went through that zone, but right onto this trend line again. So where would I look for a rejection? If we can get back up into this region here, 69.50 to 70, I'll be looking for a short. Otherwise, the next bounce area is going to be where this volume comes in, and that volume is here on the volume profile chart. So keep an eye on 67.57 down to 67 for a bounce, potentially 68 as well. And then scroll out a bit, you can see we've been tightening up in between this range here, and we're looking more bearish at the moment because we're more than halfway in the bottom half of this range. We're looking pretty bullish there. We thought we was going to break out at one point, but it didn't. So bounce, yeah, still quite like that area. 67.50 for the bounce, this region down here, and that's where the volume is as well. You can see volume comes in at that area, well, volume's there and then volume tails off. So if we lose that area, potentially we could wait for a break and retest short. There's not much volume down there to hold us up. And then long wise, if we break over pre-market high, we can watch for a break and retest long. But you could also say there's a pattern here as well, head and shoulders, left shoulder, head, right shoulder, and you can clearly see the neckline, which is this trend line here. So again, the break and retest of the neckline, we can watch for the short. Maybe worth a little swing trade on that. And that's it really. If we can get above this region, 71 to 72, then we can look for the break and retest, and this pattern will be invalid then. Gold. Almost a good pattern here. Left shoulder, head, you have a right shoulder there, or maybe this is the right shoulder. You can see the neckline here, and then we broke down, came back up, retested the neckline, and then sold off, and now we're in a downtrend, putting in higher, lower highs and lower lows. So that's a brilliant pattern, one of my favourite patterns. I didn't take it though, I missed this pullback. But let's find the next rejection point. If we can come back up into this region here to 26.60, I quite like the rejection. There's also an area of confluence in this area as well, lots of volume as well, so it makes it even better to play. Plus we've got this pivot down here as well we can watch. So let's keep an eye on 26.60 for the rejection, and then we can watch this entire zone for the rejection. 2660 to 2670. And then bounce wise, we've got this region, so there's a big area here for the bounce. Probably not far off it now, but we do lack volume in that area, and the volume does come in at the lower end of this zone. So keep an eye on this 2611 area for the bounce. RTY is looking strong, putting new all-time highs again today. So watch this area here for the bounce, which is 24.24. If we lose Friday's low, this region here, 23.91, we can look for the break and retest short. Break, retest short, back down. The main volumes here, look at the point of control. Massive amounts of volume here. We can also use 2400, which is a psychological number, as a bounce as well. So I do quite like this region for a bounce as well. So 2 bounces and 1 break and retest short, which is against the trend, so it'll be more higher risk. And that's all I'm watching for on YM. I mean on RTY. Next up is YM. Again, new all-time highs. So I hit the wrong button. Yeah, the only place I can see still this area, 43,600 area, and then we can watch this zone here. Notice the volume spike there, which it happens to coincide with this area here as well. So let's keep an eye on this area for a bounce, and that's around 43,900. Nice round psychological number as well. And then higher risk bounce, I'm torn between pre-market. Yeah, keep an eye on this region here for the bounce. Pre-market low, tops of those pivots there, but then that's Friday's. Yeah, if we lose that area, then I quite like to bounce back down here as well. So let's just mark that in as well. And the reason I'm marking that level there is because it's the top of the pivots there, bottoms of these pivots, tops of those pivots, like an area of confluence, and it's also just slightly above the point of control, so it will work out just exactly where we want this. That's kind of where I want to get in long, around about that area there. So I'll keep an eye on that. In fact, I'm going to put an alert in as well, just to remind me if we get down to that one. And we're looking at Bitcoin. This is ripping at the moment. So I did take profit, took some profits on this high volume up here. It was over, I think it was over, it wasn't quite 80, it was around about 77. I think I took profit around this area. I shall double check later. I took 50% off, and that's purely based on the volume coming in. I saw volume coming in, can't really see it on this chart, and that's where I want to get out. And I want to add it back in if we come back down, and then I'll be looking for an add point. So that's a decent trade. Let's go to the daily on this one. So all-time highs. The only real place we can watch next for a bounce will be these pivots here. So basically this entire region. This is our next bounce area, and that's at 72,000. So if we pull back to there, it'd be nice for an add. This is the volume I was talking about. So volume's just very average, doing just above average, and suddenly we had all this volume come in, and potentially that's volume because we're just starting a new up move, but I wanted to take some profit. I wanted to take profit when we hit a double top. I was a bit late, I missed that, so I did take profit about there. And I left 50% in for the run as well, which I want to start adding back to as it starts pulling back. As you say, sell the rip, buy the dip, and that's what I want to do with this. And I think that's it. Order flow still looking, in fact, order flow, let's go back to that screen. There's a little bit of a divergence here, as you can see, a flat bottom on the price, but this is clearly putting in a lower low. So potentially that's showing us that we've got selling and the buyers absorbing the sellers. So potentially we may see that breakout we've been watching, we talked about earlier. If we were to put our stop down here, we're looking at that area now, so it's kind of changed slightly now. But we know there's lots of sellers just below that level, so lots of limit orders triggered here. So it looks like there's potential buyers around absorbing all that selling. So there's a big seller there, and the buyers absorbed it. Look at that big one-off seller. So to see, this could be a potential bounce area. We talked about it earlier as one of the levels we're watching for a bounce, higher risk, because it's pre-market and it's close to where we are. And that's it, I think. Trade safe. I will only trade if I see a decent level come in on the 60-minute. I'm only playing my 60-minute levels. Okay, back to that screen. Here we go, back again. So I'm only going to be playing the 60-minute levels, and these are levels I've got marked up on my screen here. And obviously I use SPX just to confirm the trend as well. So I don't want to be going long if SPX is currently looking weak. And that's it. There's nothing really more to add in, and I'm gonna get ready for the live open. Okay, thank you for watching.